Hey everyone, this is Chris with Elite Real Estate. And I want to tell you that when it comes to your real estate transaction, you have certain choices and options. And one of those is choosing whether an attorney is going to represent you or whether you're going to use a closing or a title company. Now, it's my opinion that an attorney is better because, when those things pop up, those unintended events or circumstances, it's good to have an attorney in your pocket. And so I have with me Victor Shaheen Jr. from the Shaheen Law Firm. I've done well over 100 closings with Victor and his family's company. Victor, what can you tell me about, or tell us today about the value of using an attorney over a closing company or title company?
Chris, thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me on. The biggest thing between using a lay settlement company and an attorney for closing is when you're buying a house, it's the biggest investment for most people in their lives. And of course, when you have two parties to a transaction, there's issues that can arise, disagreements, and having an attorney on your side to adequately represent you and advocate on your behalf is an important thing to have. A lay settlement agent, on the other hand, they can't advocate on your behalf. They are limited to just going through the closing process, working with the lender, and closing the deal. Lay settlement companies actually can't even render a legal opinion on the documents you're signing for your closing. So those legal documents, the deed of trust, all the loan documents, they're not able to interpret them for you. So when you're making this big decision, I would certainly recommend you talk to one of the attorneys here at Shaheen Law Firm and work with us to get it done.
That's good advice, and I think that a lot of times for the buyer is it comes down to dollars and cents. And what I tell them is, hey, there's not a lot of cost difference.
No, I would say a lay settlement company charges about 450, 500 for a closing, and we're at about 750. So it's about the $200-300 difference. And it really makes all the difference in the world on the quality of service you get, the representation you have, and the experience of buying a house.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's well worth the investment. And like I mentioned earlier, you just never know what's going to surface in a real estate transaction. Sometimes you're going to need an attorney on your side. And if they're already familiar with the transaction from the very beginning, then that's a huge benefit. You don't have to go and search out an attorney and then bring them or prize them of everything that's gone on up to that point. So, yeah, excellent. So, as far as other services in the real estate realm that you guys offer at Shaheen, uh, what do you have and what are you offering?
Yeah, of course, we represent buyers and sellers in a residential transaction. We represent homeowners refinancing their home, either getting a home equity line or a total refinance of their loan. Also, we represent a good bit of commercial buyers and sellers on different properties in the state of Virginia, anywhere from Virginia Beach to here in Richmond. We have an office in Fredericksburg, and we also work on transactions down in North Carolina and Outer Banks now. So we're
Yeah, well,
statewide.
I'm glad you brought that up. I have used you guys for a commercial transaction. It was a pretty big one, and it was a seamless, very smooth transaction, and the attorney did a fantastic job on that. Now, I want to talk just for a second about the current market in RVA, and according to MLS, and what we're seeing actually in the market is sellers are getting about 99% of their asking price, which is different from last year because they were getting well over 110% in some cases. And the average time on the market is about 28 days. So, of course, you have pockets where the house will go in maybe a day or two, but that's the exception rather than the rule. So I think that what we're seeing now is a more fair and balanced market because this time last year, buyers had zero control. Sellers were calling all the shots, and you pretty much gave them whatever they wanted. What are you seeing on your end as in the office as far as closings and real estate transactions go?
Well, to piggyback off that, Chris, we didn't see home inspections. There was no home inspections. There were no appraisals. And now that buyers actually have some bargaining power. We're seeing home inspections come back. So when you're in that negotiation period and you're going back and forth with the seller on different repair items and defects in the home, that's the biggest issue I'm seeing right now.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
think that, yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think that the first quarter and going into the second quarter of 2023, I think it's still a good time to buy because rates, they're not that high. They're definitely higher than they were before. But all things considered, I think we're at 5.75 today. It's not that bad. And maybe you can refinance later on down the road. But listen, I want to thank you for coming by. And of course, you can go to the website, shaheenlaw.com. And yeah, that's where you can find the contact information. And again, when it comes down to a real estate transaction, it's my opinion that you're well worth having an attorney on your side. So thanks again.
Of course, appreciate you having me on, Chris.